Vagabond is one of the most celebrated and influential manga which has been made in manga history, and for good reason too. This is a type of story which doesn't come very often. This manga is made by Takehiko Ino, the same person who made Slam Dunk, which is a legendary piece of media for sports genre, but that is a discussion for another time. Vagabond is not just like any other compelling story you will read or watch. Vagabond is more than that. It talks about different facets of human ambition, and these facets of human ambitions are explored through mainly three characters, first of which is Musashi Miyamoto is the main character of the story. Driven by ambition to be known as the invincible under the sun, which is just a fancy way of saying that he wanted to be the best swordsman in Japan, he goes and challenges all of the most reputed fighters in Japan in hopes of defeating them in mortal combat. But the more he fought, the more wise he grew. Throughout the story, we see Musashi go from a feral beast to a wise man, which is beautifully illustrated by the way he wields his sword. At the start of the story, his sword was very stern, and at the end of the story, it becomes free and flexible, just like water. After killing so many people throughout his life, and after he was known as the invincible under the sun, he realizes that it is just a word. He begins to think if that is what he truly wants, and how much he had to sacrifice for it. He realizes what it means to be truly strong, and at the end of the story, he helps a small village to survive a famine by learning himself how to farm and becoming a farmer. From what small life I have lived till now, I realized one thing, that a person truly gets perspective on their life and what they truly want only when they hit rock bottom or achieve what they want. This manga only strengthened my belief in this theory. The second character I wanted to talk about is Honiden Matahachi. Is a character I used to hate, but after finishing the story, I realized his importance to the story. He is a person who is too weak to follow his ambition. He tries to overcome his inferiority complex by finding shortcuts to reach his ambitions. He lived a lie his whole life to achieve his goal, for which he was not built for, which resulted him in losing all of the people he loved and cared about. It is only after that he realizes his limitations as a person and is able to forgive himself and finally understand what he ought to do. He lived his whole life under the shadow of Musashi, which caused his inferiority complex, because of which he was not able to realize what he should really do, which is to take care of his family, but it was already too late when he realized that. Now it's time to talk about the last character, who is Sasaki Kyojiro. Is one of the most unique characters in storytelling I have the pleasure of seeing. Sasaki is deaf and mute since childhood, and the only way he is able to communicate is through his swords. You would think this would be a problem in ancient Japan, but this in turn leads to making him the most happiest person in the story. Due to his disability, he is cut off from the rest of the world, and the only thing he knows is his sword. He is devoid of all ambition and just wants to live his life to its fullest. He is not a slave to ambition or anything of such order, and this is reflected in the way he wields his swords. His sword is truly free and unpredictable, which allows him to act to his fullest potential. This is a story that everyone should read, even though there will be shows that are objectively better or there will be stories which you relate to better. But those who choose to experience this story will take something very special from it, and years later you will think that it was something truly special. The writing in this story is not full of thrills or to generate hype. It is just powerful, as it is full of stories or smaller messages that pierce through the heart and touch your soul. There is a word for such kind of a story. It is a masterpiece.